But you know me, I like to talk.
Yeah.
You've heard it.
Yeah.
You've heard it before.
My whole life.
It's true. It's absolutely true. I just haven't stopped talking. Just keep talking.
What the hell?
What the hell? What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? The weekly rundown of what we're watching, which may become what you're watching, coming at you from stevestabbing.ca, released on YouTube every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And I got some interesting stuff this week, including a film that, well, to be honest about it, we almost didn't get to see. Warner was going to steal it from us, and I'll get more into that. I also have Jason Statham doing Jason Statham things, which is basically pulverizing every bad dude that comes near him, and the 25th anniversary of the start of a massive franchise, and I got to see it again in theaters, which was very weird. But let's just get started. Honestly, before we get started with anything, I am just going to say, just because it happened today, rest in peace to Dolly Parton, who I feel is an iconic legend. And we're speaking about it on a movie show, so I might as well say 9 to 5 is a really, really great film. Her and Jane Fonda, and it forged a friendship that lasted for decades. And a complete icon that even if you weren't into her music, you knew her to be a good human being. So I thought she definitely deserved a shout out. But first up here, David Zazlav, being just a cartoonish level villain, shelved 3 movies in the span of 1 year. The first movie was Batgirl that got shelved. It was completely filmed, had a Brendan Fraser bad guy, had a lot of cool stuff going for it. Michael Keaton was in it. There was also a sequel, an animated sequel to their Scooby-Doo movie, Scoob. And this film, which got saved by the good people at Ketchup Entertainment, this one is Coyote versus Acme.
A story set in the Acme warehouse, the manufacturer of anything and everything used by the Looney Tunes characters. Starring Will Forte, Lana Condor, Tony Bell, Luis Guzman, Martha Kelly, PJ Byrne, Eric Baza, Kenneth Choi, and John Cena. Directed by Dave Green.
So yes, this is one of those rare miracle moments where a film that gets shelved for tax write-off reasons finally does get released, and that's due to the fact that the film had pretty good test screening scores. So it didn't make a lot of sense why this one was being shelved. And this was actually I don't know if it was cross Canada, but this was the landmark mystery movie screening. It honestly surpassed what I thought it was going to be. I was laughing my ass off this entire film. I think it's just such a perfect blend of juvenile and smart humor as well. Will Forte is fantastic. John Cena, great as usual.
Yeah.
But the character and the silent, Buster Keaton performance of Wile E. Coyote is really, really great in this film, and actually quite endearing to the plight of the guy who never seems to succeed. Like, he is just always pulverized
Yeah.
and destroyed by all of his own doings, and boils it down to the Acme Corporation and decides to sue them through Will Forte's character. And it honestly, there's not really a big pool to pull from when it comes to Looney Tunes mixed with live action. There's only really two other films, being Looney Tunes Back in Action with Brendan Fraser and Space Jam.
Right.
But so when I say Coyote versus Acme is the best of those films,
Wait, wouldn't Who Framed Roger Rabbit also be in that?
but that one was Disney made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is Disney made. So I mean, you could, I guess technically we could put Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because there are copyrights that it weaves through in that film.
Yeah, because like bugs and stuff, right?
Yeah. So I will still keep the crown on Roger Rabbit. Also historically, like, I have to, you know what I mean? Because it is like one of those films that I think made me a film lover and a lover of special effects and everything.
Yeah.
And acting against a tennis ball, which is largely what people are doing in this film. But I don't know. This movie really landed with me, and I was really happy with it. And I hope that it gets a box office swell behind it, because then it will really kind of light the fire under this never happening as often as it does, of having, a cast and entire crew work on a film for weeks and weeks and then never get to see the final product come to a completion. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
that sucks. I think
Yeah.
that really sucks. Let's get some nerdy bits here. The film was directed by Dave Green, like Chloe said, but what films has Dave Green done? The only big other films he did was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, which was the second of the live action ones, but it's the one where they redid the look of the turtles' faces and made them a lot better looking from the film that came before it.
Right.
It was actually not a terrible film. I actually enjoyed it somewhat. And a sci-fi film, a cute little sci-fi film called Earth to Echo. He directed that film as well. It's like a little alien robot guy. Yeah, it's pretty cute little film. It was written by Sammy Birch, who it was actually written by a trio of people. It was written by Sammy Birch, James Gunn, and Jeremy Slater. Everyone knows who James Gunn is, I assume, but Jeremy Slater, I talked about him recently because he wrote Mortal Kombat 2. And he's the writer on the upcoming, if it's still in the pike to get made, Insidious spinoff called Threads.
Okay.
He's the writer of that
they're
one. Will be
milking that right now.
Yeah. I'll have more about the Insidious movies in a little bit here. But Sammy Birch, very different than the work on Coyote versus Acme here, wrote a film that came out recently that I really want to watch. I talked about it on the What's Coming last episode, called Late Fame with Willem Dafoe. She wrote that, but she also wrote Todd Haynes' film May December with Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman, which is an incredible film. But the trio of them wrote this one. I'm guessing this was probably completed, a couple of years ago at this point. So it's probably like 4 years in the bag at this point. The score for this one done by a guy I've talked about before, Stephen Price. Stephen Price did the score for The Running Man more recently. So that's what I brought him, what I talked about. And it was shot by a guy I've talked about on this show before as well, Brandon Trost, who shot The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson. And next up for him is Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
What? I did. Okay.
Have you seen the last one, Shadow? Keanu Reeves voices Shadow.
I don't think so. I think I just saw 1 and 2.
Okay, I got 2 is Tails, 3 is Shadow. And then Amy is the new character for this new one.
The pink one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Just caught you all up on Sonic the Hedgehog's franchise. But Coyote versus Acme is a really, really fun film for all ages. I feel like this is a full-on family film. Everyone will definitely get their fun out of it, and it's so ridiculous and goofy. And God, I love Will Forte and John Cena. I mean, the guy, the lengths that they will go for comedy, they rock. I really appreciate both of those actors a lot. All right, moving on to, let's face it, the main event. Everybody wants to know what my thoughts are on the new Jason Statham Rock'em Sock'em on, I don't know, what kind of vehicle or situation, or does he house bees? No. This one is a mutiny.
After his billionaire industrialist boss is murdered in front of him, Cole Reed is set up to take the fall for the crime, leaving him on the run as he works to uncover an international conspiracy. Starring Jason Statham, Annabelle Wallis, Roland Muller, and Adrian Lester. Directed by Jean-Francois Richet.
So this comes from the same director as Plane, with Gerard Butler. And it was actually tooled at first to be the sequel to Plane, and it was just going to be called Ship. But I'm waiting for your reaction for that. The sequel to Plane.
Ship. It didn't faze me because it doesn't faze me anymore.
No.
Just yeah, of course. Of course
it was called Ship.
Of course it would be that.
Of course it'd be called Ship.
That's the natural, progression.
That's the natural progression. But once
the next one's going to be Train.
Yeah, well, that's they stopped it because Gerard Butler, it was something between contract talks and scheduling, wasn't able to do this one, so they retooled it for Jason Statham. Becomes Mutiny, and here we go. A film that, I mean, the first act, like kind of the setup for the film, is very kind of formulaic and bland. I mean, he is the bodyguard to this billionaire. Billionaire gets killed. Billionaire is also in the shipping world and everything. That's where he's made a lot of his money. And so Jason Statham's basically on the hunt for his boss's killer, essentially. Then we get to the ship, and we realize that on this ship, this captain, played by Roland Muller, who's actually pretty solid in the film, is trafficking people.
Of course.
Right? Like any bad guy. And his whole crew is made up of mercenaries and bad guys, because of course it is, right? Honestly, once we get to the boat, this movie, and this is very shallow of me, but this is very much based on violence. This movie kind of rocks. Action wise, Statham just kills people and dispatches them with just such blunt trauma that it's so entertaining. I can't defend some of the action and kind of like the that kind of like old school glee that you get from watching the good guy take out the bad guys. And I mean, and like a horror movie almost, there are like some great kills in this movie, like some really, really solid, like, oh my God, like kills where I sat forward in my seat and was like, ooh, so Statham still has that. He already had a film earlier this year, Shelter, that that I thought was better than I thought it would be, and Mutiny kind of lands in that category too. Like, it's a fun actioner that is nothing that I'm gonna rave about, but that I largely didn't feel was a waste of time at all. And none of the trailers would ever lead you to believe that this was gonna be a cool movie. It just kind of looks like we're following the formula, and Jason Statham has made movie after movie of following the formula to varying degrees, and I would say this one is probably one of the better ones. All right, let's get some nerdy stuff here. The score for this film was done by Marcus Trump. No relation. I've already talked about him on the show before because he did the score for Clown in a Cornfield.
Oh, okay.
But the next film he's doing is an interesting one called Quasimodo.
Like Hunchback of Notre Dame, Quasimodo?
Yes, and it's like Hunchback of Notre Dame, Quasimodo. It's also directed by Jean-Francois Richet, and stars Vincent Cassel in the film. So
What?
yeah,
Okay.
might be interesting. It was shot by Brendan Galvin, who's done some all right action and adventure in his career. He shot Selfless with Ryan Reynolds, Flight of the Phoenix, the remake from the mid 2000s with Dennis Quaid, and Behind Enemy Lines. I think that was Owen Wilson's first action film, which I had on DVD. It was one of actually probably within the first 10 DVDs I ever owned. But of course, I got to bring the bad stuff because he also shot Rambo Last Blood, which was not a good film by any stretch of the imagination. As much as I want to love Rambo, that movie sucked real bad. But this last one, and I don't know what category we put it in, good or bad, but he shot Immortals.
I mean, the film looks good, so there's that, but I think it's like 90% CG, so, you know.
It is what it is, right? Like,
yeah.
he's good at shooting green screen.
Thanks for your contribution.
Yeah, exactly. Here is just one bit of trivia here. The full movie for this accidentally leaked on Amazon after being posted on Prime's product detail page that typically shows trailers. It was up for a matter of hours on August 19th, just days before the film opened in numerous key territories before being taken down. The movie was later posted on multiple popular piracy sites, leading to an international buyer involved with the project calling this a multi-million-dollar problem for Amazon.
It's hilarious.
Woo!
Oh, man.
So much yikes. So that's Mutiny. Probably some people out there might have already seen it without even going to the theaters. But I don't know. It was fun. If you like Statham, you'll dig it. All right, let's move on to another action film, but this one is celebrating 25 years this year, and it's on Blu-ray. That's right, on the blue. We're going to cheat a little bit because I had got a copy of this one on 4K, the 25th anniversary edition, but they've also released it for the next couple of weeks in theaters to re-experience again like it's 2001 all over again. What film am I talking about? The Fast and the Furious.
Los Angeles police officer Brian O'Connor must decide where his loyalty really lies when he becomes enamored with the street racing world he has been sent undercover to destroy. Starring Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Rick Yune, Chad Lindbergh, Johnny Strong, and Ted Levine. Directed by Rob Cohen.
Did you ever get into the Fast and Furious movies at all through Julius or anything? Has he watched these?
Through you. You took me to see like 4 of them. Like 3 or 4 of them.
I'm just wondering if Julius kept it alive in you at all.
No, I going into the relationship, I was the Fast and Furious one.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the films went from being about cars and
Yeah.
stealing DVD players to like they've gone to space. They're fighting Jason Momoa now. They've just done a lot. You know what I mean? We've crashed through the slums of Brazil. We've just done so much crazy stuff. Dragged a safe through Rio de Janeiro. Like they've just done so much stuff. But going back to watching the first film again just shows the simplicity of really how it all started. Because yeah, I mean, the big heist in the beginning is stealing uh, a trailer full of DVD players and VCR TV combos
Yeah, like
worth
I
just
like
over $1 million.
the ones that I remember, it was like they're doing like petty crime,
Yeah,
and then there was the one where The Rock was there and they were doing like the crazy like jumps and like I think that was the safe one
yeah, that would have
where
been
they were
Fast Five.
dragging the safe around. I think that was the last one I saw was Fast Five.
Fast Five, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
and then I
and
was like, all right.
there's been submarines. They've launched a Ferrari from building to building at the top of the Abu Dhabi skyscrapers. Like they've done crazy shit, but like this one is the simplification. This is the ground. This is the foundation.
Right.
And really, I mean, our four our four are the only ones that are constant, except for Vin Diesel goes away for 2 movies, and kind of everyone goes away for Tokyo Drift. But I mean, Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Jordana Brewster, and Michelle Rodriguez are kind of like the four pillars of the foundation of this franchise. And I mean, the movie is still so corny, such just goofy tough guy bravado lines. And although Vin Diesel doesn't say family in this film, he didn't
Unwatchable.
he didn't say family in the first film. The only one that says family in the first film is the captain that Brian O'Connor works for. He's the only one that says family is towards the end of the film. But the stunts are incredible. The cars are awesome. That stuff is still constant. That stuff is still static. It doesn't change. Um, the feel of it and the influence that this movie would make on, car movies is palpable. And to experience that and the soundtrack, which features like Ja Rule, Limp Bizkit, like just like so many different great tracks. It all just worked again in theaters, and it was just kind of like a welcome experience again. So 25 years. We don't know what the status of Fast Forever, the next film in this, but from what an interview with Alan Ritchson told us is that the script commands more money than they have. So whatever that
They need
means.
their Ferraris and Corvettes, and you know that's what bankrupted SWAT.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much they're it looks like they're running up against some financials problem, which is crazy for $1 billion franchise.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Multi-billion
also
dollar
like
franchise.
the entire cast is legacy, so how like they can't pay for that because that's also the problem that Law and Order SVU is running into. They're having to cut some of the legacy cast members because
They can't
like
afford them.
just in order to afford Mariska, like that's why because they
That's
need to
crazy.
afford her.
Yeah. Well, you have to keep them and you have to keep them around if you've been doing 20 plus seasons.
Yeah.
It's like, but I mean, she's happy playing that role forever, so she'll retire as an actress in that role. But yeah, at the end of the day, Fast and Furious is great. It's still playing in theaters, in limited level. In my city, it played like late night, like 10 o'clock. But it was definitely a cool late night film, and gives you the need for speed, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Jen drove after. I didn't drive. I might have wanted to race around a little bit, so she drove.
Right.
But yeah, absolute classic. All right, let's go head over onto streaming for a few films. That's right, the streaming pile this week, and I have a varying degree of films here, but 2 horror to talk about. And the other one was just a horror of my time. But let's start off with this one. Just an oddball of a film that is appearing on a lot of horror fans' top of 2026 lists. And I never got a chance to see this one in theaters, and it just waited a little bit when it hit streaming, but I finally checked it out. This one is Forbidden Fruits.
At a mall store, Apple leads a secret witch cult with coworkers Cherry and Fig. New hire Pumpkin questions their sisterhood, forcing them to confront inner darkness or meet violent ends. Starring Lily Reinhart, Lola Tung, Victoria Pedretti, Alexandra Shipp, Emma Chamberlain, and Gabrielle Union. Written and directed by Meredith Alloway. Available on Shudder.
So the best way to describe this movie is it's Mean Girls meets The Craft, and it all takes place at the mall.
Is it modern
at a mall
day?
in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, it's modern day. It's modern day, but it's still everything's bright and kind of like dreamlike and everything. The store they work in, there's a lot of pinks and everything because Free Eden, the store that they work in, is kind of this flighty kind of high-end fashion store that's like also got like all the trinkets and everything in the store. And it's like a really interesting home base for this like little witches coven. And like this is like feels like this is definitely geared towards a little bit of feminist horror here, and I can really dig into that because it's also got some really great gore in it once it gets going. There's a couple scenes of fantastic gore that I thought was a lot of fun. But this one's really, really all on the performances. Lola Tung as kind of your new character, the audience conduit into the lifestyle of this Free Eden group, and plays that naivete with a side of knowing that's really good and very, very curious and interesting. Lily Reinhart as Apple, your lead. She's your Regina George essentially from Mean Girls. She has some really biting and vicious lines in this film that I really thought were great. That she delivered really well. But the MVP of this movie for sure is Victoria Pedretti, who plays the just the blonde ditz and plays it so well, to just an absolute crescendo. She's because it's not something that I recognize out of her. She was in You, and then she was also in A Haunting of Hill House, so it was really kind of against what I've seen her portray before. But I thought she was really great, and this was like a solid first outing for this director, this writer director who adapted this one from a play, because there's a lot of this that kind of feels like it's pulled directly from that play, like some of like how the dialogue's built. But yeah, I just thought it was really solid, and I think a lot of people will discover this one on Shudder and be like, "Where the fuck did this film come from?" And it played in Canada. It was like not a limited release, but it was kind of a wide release. So definitely worth checking out if you're into a cool horror film. I got a little bit of nerdy stuff about this. Feels like I'm talking about Anna Drubic every week, but she did the score for this one as well. The other film she did recently that I talked about recently, she did the score for, besides Barbarian, was Corporate Retreat. And remember, what do I say about if you want to watch Corporate Retreat? That's right. It was shot by Kareem Hussein. And Kareem Hussein is a guy near and dear to my heart because he shot random acts of violence from my buddy Jay Baruchel. But he also shot Hobo with a Shotgun, which is a really cool film from Jason Eisner, as well as basically everything that Brandon Cronenberg has put out. He is the guy. But of course, I gotta bring one that I was not super enthused with. He shot the remake of Firestarter with Zac Efron. Okay. Really did not like that film. Really had problems with that film. But let's bring him back up again because he shot the music video for Sweet Dreams of Otherness by Alexis on Fire, which is like my favorite band ever. So there we go. There we go, bringing it all home. But Forbidden Fruits, you should check it out. I think you'd like it too,
Yeah.
because it's just a good amount of fun, and I think you'll really dig the scope of this film. All right, let's move on to look. This is a warning shot. This is just me saving 2 hours of your time, but I went on a prominent mouse-led streaming service to watch the new James L. Brooks film, and I think it hurt my brain. This one's Ella McKay.
An idealistic young woman juggles her family and work life in a comedy about the people you love and how to survive them. Starring Emma Mackey, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jack Lowden, Kumail Nanjiani, Ayo Edebiri, Spike Fearn, Julie Kavner, Rebecca Hall, Albert Brooks, and Woody Harrelson. Written and directed by James L. Brooks. Available on Disney+.
Wow, like with a cast like that, you'd be like, okay, this has got to be a pretty solid film. Jamie Lee Curtis, Albert Brooks, Woody Harrelson, Emma Mackey is an actress that looks a lot like Margot Robbie in that group of Samara Weaving. So it's like when she's blonde, they all kind of look similar. And Emma Mackey was in Barbie as well. I digress from the point. It's just like a really good cast. Plus, you got Kumail Nanjiani, Ayo Edebiri from The Bear. Like, it's all shaping up well. But this film, I mean, done by James L. Brooks, a master, an Academy Award winner, Terms of Endearment, as good as it gets. Like, he's got great films that he's done. This film is god awful and feels completely out of touch of what humans act like or talk like, and every character is just really poorly written, starting from Ella herself down to her shitty attention-seeking husband played by Jack Lowden from a great series called Slow Horses, a guy that it sounds like might be James Bond, delivering just a horrifically bad performance in this film. I just think because of a terrible script. Bill from our buddy Bill from After the Credits says that he feels like this film was written by AI, and like it's really
possible. It is quite really possible.
Absolutely possible, because James L. Brooks is he's like an 80-year-old dude. He's old, right? So the fact that he's trying to write even a middle-aged character is something that's probably out of his realm for at least a few decades. So yeah, it's frustratingly horrible. And just the caliber of people involved to make this film and to direct this film. And I mean, let's get nerdy here to do all the things behind, because the score for this film was done by Hans Zimmer. The great Hans Zimmer. Do I need to explain who Hans Zimmer is at this point? I mean, I've obviously talked about him on the show before. The last thing he did was F1, but like, he's attached to this garbage. Arguably, like, one of the worst Hollywood films of 2025 for sure.
Were they like all blackmailed into doing this or something?
I don't know, or it's just like a studio contract. The good news is the next time we'll hear scores from Hans Zimmer will be Dune Part 3, so all will be well. And continuing, it was shot by Robert Elswit, who's like a really incredible cinematographer that's done so much great work. I've brought him to the show before because he did recently did The Punisher: One Last Kill, that short 1 hour special, which was really, really good. And his next film is Ben Affleck's new movie, Animals, which Ben Affleck directed as well, which I'm really, really looking forward to. But yeah, I'm just floored by this film and how atrociously terrible it is. Like, there's really even a Rotten Tomato score cannot prepare you for how poorly written this movie is. But I will say, one of the in the cast, Julie Kavner being in the cast. Julie Kavner is the voice of Marge Simpson, which is
Okay.
a show that James L. Brooks produces. This is her first role outside The Simpsons since Click.
Click. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
2005. So like 21 years, 20 years. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, like Corporate Retreat, when you ask, should I watch Ella McKay? The answer is no. And finally, and this one's a catch up. This one's a catch up so I can bring something next week. And then it all becomes obvious when I start talking about it. And I already briefly touched on this franchise just for a second. And now we'll talk about it a little more. So let's just jump into it. This is Insidious, The Red Door.
The Lamberts must go deeper into the further than ever before to put their demons to rest once and for all. Spoiler, it's not once and for all. Starring Ty Simpkins, Patrick Wilson, Sinclair Daniel, Chaim Abbas, and Rose Byrne. Directed by Patrick Wilson. Available on Netflix.
And it's Patrick Wilson's directorial debut.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I had totally forgotten that they were hypnotized at the end of the second film.
Yeah, to full disclosure, I don't remember what happens in this movie.
This is 9 years after the events of 2, because 3 and 4 are both prequels.
Yeah.
So we haven't been with the Lamberts since chapter 2, which is 1 and 2 are solid ass films. 2's got a jump scare in it that knocked me out of my chair.
I remember that.
It was so fucked up. Actually, 1 has a really great jump scare as well. 3 and 4 were okay, but just far lesser. Far lesser. And Red Door is largely boring.
That would explain why I don't remember anything that happens.
Because I with the Insidious movies, and I still also believe it when it comes to the Red Door, these are like really great introduction horror to people that are getting into it, because it's not light. It will jolt you. But there's not like blood and gore and that kind of stuff. Like it's fairly clean. But even by that standard, I feel like this film was lesser. There's a great scare in the MRI machine that I liked. But I don't know, this film felt kind of simple. And kind of retreading beats that we've already done. And I get we're using the trope that their memories have been erased or suppressed and everything. So that's why we're able to kind of do a greatest hits, like best of in certain regards. But as a viewer, it doesn't feel enough worthy of bringing the Lamberts back for an extra cap on their story.
It feels like that's what's happening in the one that they're releasing too, though, because like the trailer is like, remember this. Like that's literally what it is.
It's a completely new character. No Lamberts, and her trope is she can take, with her touch, she can take she can take demons out of the further into the real world. So that's the trope. I'm going to probably see it this weekend. Now that I'm caught up, But I will say that Red Door wasn't. I wasn't super enthused on it. There's a couple cool sequences. They really, really love that "Tiptoe Through the Tulips"
I
song
love it.
so
Yeah,
much. They love it.
it's the theme song.
Well, and yeah, I mean, Tiny Tim is creepy. We knew
Yeah.
that. So isn't it a little, I don't know, too on the
There's
nose?
other creepy songs too. Like
Yeah, I know.
in the first couple films, like it was creepy as hell because it wasn't used in other things. But now it's like, okay,
It's synonymous with it now.
you got anything else?
No, because it's going to be in the new
okay.
one too. I'll probably complain about it next week too.
Great.
Just so we have something to look forward to. I'll be complaining about the same stuff next week. Let's get some nerdy bits here. This film was the writing for this one was taken over by Scott Teems, who sadly did The Exorcist Believer for David Gordon Green, which was Exorcist slop. It was just bad. It was just really bad. Also wrote Halloween Kills for David Gordon Green as well. And that film that I talked about not liking earlier, Firestarter, wrote that one. The score for this one, this is kind of interesting. The score for this one is done by Joseph Bashara, who I've talked about before because he did the score for Hokum just this year. But Joseph Bashara is also the lipstick demon in Insidious and essentially the villain for I would say the whole Lambert story. He's the villain.
Yeah,
because he comes back
the big
in
bad.
He comes back in Red Door. So, but
I'm pretty sure like the Red Door like is his thing. Like that's his
But knock down 5 so I can check out 6. Essentially, is what I've done here. So, but yeah, it's on Netflix. It was an easy place to pick it up, and now I'll sit in the back of my theater for the next one and talk about Tiny Tim yet again. All right, I added a few things to my library, so let's check them out. That's right, new to the library this week, and this one's for the kids. I always have a good selection of films for the family on my shelves, and this is a new one on 4K, and this one goes back to the 90s. New Line animation, The Swan Princess. Did you ever see this one?
No.
From the late 90s? Yeah. Or no, maybe mid-90s, I think. But
I was into Fern Gully, so.
Yeah, it was around that era.
Yeah,
a film. This one came afterwards, but I saw that in the list and I was like, why not? Speaking of James L. Brooks, let's go back to when he was actually writing great films. This is the early 90s. This film's called I'll Do Anything. It's Nick Nolte and Albert Brooks, who was just in that terrible Ella McKay film that I ranted about. But this, like I said, this is when James L. Brooks was writing good films. This is also pre As Good as It Gets. And never actually seen this film, so I was really happy to grab that one. Also, Start the Revolution Without Me. This is Gene Wilder and Donald Sutherland, in their young years, playing two identical twins. One is living, this is during the French Revolution. One is living as a high aristocrat. The other one is a vagrant, and they swap places.
Ooh.
Right? You know, that zaniness. So all of that cross class zaniness in the French Revolution. I've never actually seen the film, but seeing those two actors on it sold it to me really easily. As well as Pretty Maids All in a Row. That this film and Start the Revolution Without Me are both part of the Warner Archive collection. Some classic films that are getting that brand new pressing. And this one, it's got Rock Hudson in it, but it was written by Gene Roddenberry, who's the creator of Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, a drama written by him. So I was interested to grab that. And just to fill out my Hanna-Barbera collection more, I got Dastardly and Muttley and Their Flying Machines complete series. Dastardly and
All right.
Muttley in their flying machines. It's all described right there. That's what the
Yep.
show is about. And I don't know, every time I see one of those Hanna-Barbera complete collections come up, I have to grab it. It's a compulsion to own every old cartoon, Looney Tunes, and all that stuff. I have the Jetsons, I have Flintstones, got it all. So just gotta keep it up. So Warner Archive, just keep pumping them out because they're killer. All right, we're almost ready to get out of here, but I got a few reminders first. So right out this week on 4K, Disclosure Day, Spielberg's latest film, giving the world access to the past of alien visits on the planet through the eyes of a boomer. That's the best way to describe it. But there is a really cool steelbook for it that's a really pretty looking. And you know me and steelbooks, I'm all about it. But I reviewed it on the June 19th episode, so you can check out my thoughts on it there, which includes Josh O'Connor's terrible sneaking around government agents. Also on Blu-ray and 4K this week, Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. There is, of course, a very cool steelbook for it, brought out by Disney. But also there is the Beskars Collector's Edition, which is even more cool, and that's also a steelbook as well. But I reviewed this one on the June 5th episode of the podcast, and you know, it's just fun. It's like season 3 just crammed into one movie. Also on Blu-ray this week, The Sheep Detectives. I would say one of the surprises of 2026 for me. This one just really worked with me and worked well. I gave it a full review on the May 15th episode, so you can check that one out there. Also on Blu-ray, Carolina Caroline, Samara Weaving and Kyle Gallner, who have chemistry for not days, not weeks, not months, years. These guys just have so much chemistry, and you dig this love story right away because these two actors are so fucking good. But I reviewed that one on the June 12th episode, so check it out there. And finally, out of the foreign category, it was a best foreign picture nominee for the Academy Awards. The Voice of Hind Rajab is now on Blu-ray. Very important, but also hard to watch film, based on a tragic true story from the Gaza Strip. And I reviewed it on the January 30th episode of the podcast, so you can check it out there. Well, that brings us to a close for this week, but what am I going to talk about next week? Next week on the show, Ridley Scott is back with a brand new epic, but it doesn't seem that there is much of an ad campaign behind it because people are still like, what the fuck is The Dog Stars? It's a new movie with Jacob Elordi and Josh Brolin and Margaret Qualley, and it takes place in a post-apocalyptic landscape. Looks cool to me. Also this week, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Dave Franco, and Mason Thames in the comedy Idiots. I've been seeing the trailer for this one for a while, so I've been really excited to check that one out. Also, a film that I brought up a couple of times in passing, Buddy, which is essentially a mascot on a kid's television program that goes maniacal, I am assuming. Topher Grace is in this movie. It's actually got like kind of a solid cast behind it. And it comes from the filmmaker who did the Adult Swim commercial or special, Too Many Cooks. It's his debut film. Also, the director of Train to Busan has a new film. It looks zombie related called Colony, brought up by Chloe's favorite company, Well Go USA. Speaking of Well Go USA and Chloe's love, Legend of the White Dragon is getting its release this week. Hopefully, I can get a screener for it. This is the final film of the White Power Ranger, Jason David Frank. This is the final completed works of him and is finally getting a big screen release. So that's interesting. And The Whisper Man, a new Netflix horror film with Robert De Niro and Adam Scott. And the director of this one made a film I really liked previously. So it was giving me some hope, even though the last Netflix horror film was The Last House. So you know how that went. But that brings us to a close here. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and Blue Sky at the Stevel Dead.
You can find me on Letterboxd at HoneyBunChloe.
You can also find all of the episodes for this show on stevestebbing.ca or go to the YouTube page and please like and subscribe. You can also find us on shiftheads.ca. You can hear me a few different places. First, on After the Credits with Marina, Bill, and Melissa. You can find those episodes at atcpod.ca. You can also hear me on Tremble, the Horror Podcast with Kurt and Taylor. You can find those episodes at 3angrynerds.com. And you can also hear me now on Kelowna's AM 1150 every Friday just after the 8:30 news break. And you can also hear me on Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Toronto's News Talk 1010, found on the iHeartRadio network. You can also get all of those episodes wherever you get your favorite podcast. And that does it for us. We've emptied out our list for this week. So until next week, bye-bye.